Now they want to get rid of your 401k? What? Oh my goodness, you tell me? Well, not the media would never tell us something that's not true, would they? Oh my goodness. All right, so we're going to read this article real quick from USA Today. Just yesterday it came out. Economists say the 401k accounts aren't worth it and that we should abolish them, says Daniel DeVise from USA Today. Now, Daniel probably doesn't write the headlines, so I don't know who the economist who wrote the headlines, but he's going to talk about right here, who we're going to talk about right there. Oh, Alicia Manel from the Center for Retirement Research and Andrew Biggs from AEI. I just literally had Andrew Biggs on my YouTube channel yesterday or 2 days ago? Yeah, 2 days ago. And not once did they ever say get rid of the 401k. Not once. I read their position paper about getting rid of tax deductions for money going into 401ks. I didn't read anything about reducing the tax deferral of 401ks, just the tax deductions for money going in. And Andrew Biggs didn't mention that one time either. So as such, not one time did Andrew Biggs or Alicia Manel in their paper say we should abolish IRAs and 401ks. Now, if you see it differently, prove it to me. I'd love to see it. I didn't see it. I actually literally just interviewed Andrew for over an hour on Friday. I read his position paper, and I've emailed him back and forth. Not one time did I hear him say, get rid of the 401k IRA. So why is the media saying that? Because the media lies. And that's why we're supposed to be sympathetic to all these media people getting laid off. I have no sympathy. If you're going to lie, you should not have a job because your lying creates bad things for people who believe you. We can talk about what happened in the pandemic 2020, the media's lies. We can talk about the WMDs, the media's lies. Trust me, I was just my man Michael and I, he used to be in the Marine Corps. Then after 9/11, he re-upped for the Marine Corps for another 6 years. I tried to re-up too. I almost did because I got to get those guys before they get me. Those lies propagated by the media have led to countless deaths, countless families being destroyed and whatnot. It's bad, man. So when these people lose their jobs, I got no sympathy. All right, so Alicia says, we don't think it increases savings very much, the tax deferral into 401k plans. And it's just the evidence is just not there to validate that having a pre-tax money going into your 401k increases savings. It just isn't. We had a guy when I was interviewing Andrew on my YouTube channel says, well, I saved 8% of my income into my 401k without having a match on my employer plan. That's fine. That's just like, well, I did it. Well, that means everybody else does it. No, there's always an exception to every rule, dude. This guy's like, oh, I saved 8% of mine. I didn't have a match because I wanted the tax deduction. So that means it works. No. The reason people save into 401ks is because you get the match. That's right. It's just that simple. You don't have the match. Few people are going to save into 401ks. They're going to spend the money. That's just all there is to it. The match is what creates savings. It's not the tax deduction. It's just not. And as such, the tax deduction of money going in doesn't increase the savings that we're trying to accomplish by trying to fix their so-called retirement crisis. It doesn't. If it did, then IRAs would go through the roof, but they're not. And the reason it doesn't is because people say, well, I can consume that money as opposed to saving it. There are going to be some people who do. 100%. It's the match that's the incentive. The match, the free money. People get that. If I put $100 in, my account's worth $200. Yes, that's the incentive, not the tax deferral. It's the freaking match. But they're not. I didn't even Alicia and Andrew weren't necessarily arguing. Again, I could be wrong here. I don't think I am about getting rid of the tax deferrals. They're arguing about getting rid of the tax deductions of money going in. So let's keep going here. Why are these economists going after your 401k? The employee retirement plan as personal savings counterpart, the IRA, were created to help Americans save for retirement. But federal data suggests that tax-favored accounts help only some Americans, and the wealthy in particular, 100%. All right, so let's keep going down. The looming crisis of retirement savings. Never heard that before for the last... There's been a retirement crisis for 50 years. We're all going to run out of money in retirement. It just never happens. It's almost like the boy who cried wolf, the crisis who cried wolf. Many researchers believe Americans face a crisis in retirement. Fewer than half of us have retirement accounts. Well, if you take in that, there we go. I mean, the crisis taking in younger people who are just starting out as part of their, you're all wet, buddy. As part of so if you have a population of, say 40 to 65 people and a population of 20 to 20 to 39 people, two completely different components in a life. So to say most of us don't have a retirement account, well, let's get rid of the people in their just starting out years, and let's just look solely at the people who are looking at retirement in the next 2 or 3 decades, people between 40 and 65. And it's going to be different, for sure. All right, then part 2 of this, they say, census Bureau, even among those ages 56 to 64, the share of retirement accounts lagged below 60% in 2020. Interesting. So that's what we'd want to focus on. All right. So we'd focus on the 60% of the population between, 56 and 65 have retirement accounts. 40% do not. Now, how do you define a retirement account? Money at the bank? Is that a retirement account? Roth IRA? Is that a retirement account? Define retirement accounts. Your brokerage account? Is that a retirement account? Interesting, is it not? Yes, it is. So it's silly, man, because I've done this a million times, and the whole thing is just dumb to say, oh my goodness, we have a retirement crisis. That still means that 60% of the population has a retirement account. That's not a retirement crisis. Without a retirement account, most retirees depend on Social Security, but monthly Social Security checks average $1,800 a month in 2023. The typical household run by someone 65 or older spends $4,300 a month. All right. So what we have here is we have a comparison of averages. We say your Social Security is only giving you $1,800 a month. All right. And the average, that's the average Social Security, and the average household spends $4,300 a month. That's kind of weird, because what does that say? The household is Charlotte and me, is one household. The average Social Security check is just me. Interesting. So let's just take the average and we times that by 1.5. That's $1,800 plus $900 for a spousal benefit. Or you could even say that's if you have a spouse. So in that case, it's $2,700. In that case, the average spending is $4,300 a month. That means I need another less than $2,000 a month for my portfolio, $24,000 a year. And ironically, don't tell anybody this. There is no retirement crisis. You know why? Because when we interview people who are retired, the vast majority says they are content. So how's that happening? Well, because 60% of the population, has a retirement account. The great unknown here is how many people have brokerage accounts and certificates of deposits that are not included in that. Kind of crazy. Again, this is where we're lying with statistics. The average Social Security check is $1,800. All right. Well, if it's me and Charlotte, the average check is $3,600. We need $4,300 a month right there. We need $700 from our other savings, either retirement account of 60% of retirees, or a non-retirement account, or brokerage account, or CD, or something like that. All right, so we talk about the 401k emerged in the 1970s and gained popularity as tools for Americans to build savings. Yep. From 1975 to 2019, active private sector pension participants dwindled from 27 million to fewer than 13 million. Again, 27 million. Not everybody had a pension, Josh, don't you know? All right. And here's a University of Chicago economist. How dare we challenge this guy? But he says the government doesn't tax money coming into your 401k, but it taxes when you withdraw the money from retirement. And he says it's a really good deal. It's a really good deal, don't you know? Don't you know? It's a real good deal for the wealthy, 100%. No one's denying that. Absolutely. Absolutely. But the facts are, it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, which is encourage retirement savings. It just does not, unless there's a match. The match is a critical thing. I can't stress this enough. But again, getting rid of the tax advantage retirement plans, the government doesn't tax income contributed, but it taxes when it withdraws, is not the same thing as getting rid of the 401k and the IRA. I did not hear Andrew Biggs and Alicia Monell make an argument that we need to stop them outright. I didn't hear it. So either making up or I'm missing something. I don't think I'm missing something. Yet millions of Americans don't take advantage of tax-favored retirement savings. Nearly half workers have no access to a retirement plan at work, says one AARP, whatever. So why aren't they taking advantage of it? If the tax advantages are so important, why aren't they taking advantages of it? Well, it's not the tax advantages that are making people save money. What is it? Oh, yeah, like I keep saying, it is the match. Most people, middle class or lower, struggle to put food on the table and a roof over their head. They don't have any money left over to save, says some guy from the Urban Brookings Institute. Wealthier Americans, on the other hand, tend to take full advantage of the tax breaks. All right, so anyway, the whole point of the tax subsidies was to encourage more Americans to save for retirements, but that hasn't happened. Exactly right. From the 1989 to 2022, the share of workers ages 25 to 64 participating in this employer-sponsored plan has gone from 51 to 53. Yep. They're basically saying we ought to call it quits on our retirement tax system because it's broken. No one's saying that. No one is saying that. These people are so freaking silly. Here's this guy, Brian Graff, the CEO of the American Retirement Association. Notice on April 1st, I personally cannot think of a more preposterous idea. It's not only for the rich, says Craig Copeland of the EBRI. A lot of middle-class people have 401ks that typically that's the bulk of their savings outside their homes. Strip away the tax benefits, and employers would lose their incentive to offer retirement plans in the first place. They would. Abolishing the tax subsidies is not going to hurt the wealthy, says Copeland, because the wealthy are going to save. It's going to hurt those middle quartile people who aren't saving in their 401k because of tax. It's like my man. I love my man Tom Albrecht, and he's a good guy. He's always on my YouTube channel. We just don't see eye to eye on, and that's we're not arguing, but I say we can see too far, and he says no, we can't, and then we just like he's arguing. Maybe here, I'm arguing here. It's like we just can't, we're like two shifts past the night. We cannot see each other's point of view. It's weird, man. I'm sitting there thinking that just like he sees it completely differently than me. And it's a strange phenomenon that I just like. And Tom's a good guy. I like Tom. He's smart, freaking hell well smarter than I am. But when I make a point, he just doesn't see my point. And then when he makes a counterpoint, I'm like, how do you not see my point? I don't get it. And then he would say, how do you not see my point? It's like we're completely like on a different wavelength, if that makes sense. It's kind of interesting. And same thing here with who's a Stuart Copeland, who used to play drums for the police. The wealthy are going to save. It's going to hurt those middle quartile people who aren't saving in their 401ks because of tax deferrals to begin with. That's the whole point of Andrew and Alicia's argument. It was, again, we're like passing in the night, man. Two ships passing by the night. Crazy. Let's see. What else we got? If you're troubled by how large these retirement plans are, you can limit what goes in or you can limit what comes out. No one's troubled by how large they are there, Rosenthal. Oh, my God. And then we're going to read some of the comments here. I thought we had some comments on here. Hold on a second. And again, employers have phased out pensions, Social Security is insolvent, and now economists want to end tax-deferred 401ks. Where's the evidence that they want to? Then what's the solution? Employers began phasing out traditional pension plans when 401ks were introduced, and they loved it because pensions are expensive. Most employers would stop offering health care benefits if they could do it. Yeah, they should. There's another example of how economists are totally disconnected from any semblance of reality. If the 401k and IRA favored the well-heeled, how would doing away with them help FICA unless contribution maximums are raised? Yikes, what if you have a 401k that's matched by your employer? That's a great deal. Get off the 401k hate train. See, these people it's insane. They don't read the articles. They read this article. I would just love to see exactly where it said that we want to get rid of 401ks and IRAs. I'd love to see it. And it's just, you have an IRA that you don't get tax deduction on, right? You still have that. It still exists. I don't know if you knew this. It's called a non-deductible IRA. What? Yeah. If you make too much money, you can contribute to an IRA, not get a tax deduction on the front end, but the money still grows tax deferred. Don't tell, what's this guy's name? Don't tell Daniel DeVace, whatever his name is, that happens. Yeah, this guy over here. Don't tell him that. There's still non-deductible IRAs. I know it's crazy. And yet people still do non-deductible IRAs on occasion, mostly wealthy people. That's the point. But you know what non-wealthy people do? They say, I can get free money by putting money into this account? Yes. I'm going to do that. Yes. Love your thoughts. Super Bowl Sunday's coming up. You know the Chiefs going to win. I don't think that this Super Bowl is rigged. I think it was rigged for Baltimore against Kansas City for sure. They definitely wanted Kansas City in there. But I don't think this will be rigged. Will they want Patrick Mahomes to win? I don't think the NFL cares so much like who wins as long as they get their preferred teams in there. And I think they did here. They probably wanted the Cowboys, but the Cowboys, at some point you still got to make the passes, still got to make the tackles, still got to make the catches. But I think definitely the Chiefs wanted, the NFL wanted the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And at the end of the day, Patrick Mahomes is still the best quarterback on the planet. So you got to beat the king, man. And Patrick Mahomes is the king. They might have had a relatively poor season relative to previous Chiefs years, but they won 2 games on the road in the playoffs, And the Patriots had years where they didn't look good and they won the Super Bowl too. So I definitely think the Chiefs are going to win. Probably, I'd say 27-14 is my prediction. Love your thoughts. We'll see you.